My bad, go.
It's all good.
We're amateurs.
No.
All right, so here with Johannus Monday at the 2024 National Championships in Stillwater, Oklahoma. With the Tennessee Volunteers, a All-American, and from England. So tell us, how did you end up in college tennis, and why Tennessee?
Well, it was always been my goal since I was probably around 13 or 14 to be a professional tennis player. Honestly, I probably wasn't good enough to do so it was more of a dream than a goal. And the best way for me to do it was to go through college. And honestly, I wasn't a very good junior. I didn't get recruited by a lot of the good schools. A lot of the good schools turned me down. I won't mention them, but there's a lot in the top 10 right now that turned me down. And thankfully, Tennessee, I had a connection with them. So James McCall, our associate head coach, he went to the same school that I went to, high school. So we had a connection there. My coach at the time was the same coach as James, and he asked, "We have this kid, come check him out," and stuff. So James did, and James liked what he saw, and he offered me a good scholarship, so that's why I came.
So you talked a little bit about maybe being a late developer. Is that part of the growth spurt? Talk us about your junior career and how you got to the point where Tennessee was actually looking at you.
Yeah, I think firstly, I don't come from a family with a lot of money, so it was difficult for me to travel around the world and play all these ITF junior events. So I think that's one of them. I think, yes, I was a late developer, but I think honestly also, and not to sound angry, but I think I also had that potential in me. I just didn't really have that opportunity to let it out, and once I got to Tennessee, I had a great program behind me with great coaches who got that out of me, I'd say. So yeah.
And so when you were growing up, and so obviously you weren't 6'5" when you were 10 years old.
No.
Was your coach developing a bigger game for you, or were you? How was your sort of game style developed to get to where you are right now?
Yeah, my coach that I had in high school, who I still speak to now, and who still helps me now.
Shout out.
Yeah, Nathan Lundy. I think he's a great coach.
Okay.
And he was always about the process. He never really focused too much on the outcomes for me, because he said it doesn't matter if you're under 12s. Like a lot of the best players under 12s in my age group in Britain don't even play anymore. So,
right.
And my coach told me this. And when you're that age, that young age, it's tough to believe that, but my coach would tell me that a lot. So I started to believe in it, and we focused on the process of trying to do the right things and stuff. And I think that's kind of led me to now. But also, I still think my game can be more aggressive at times as well, and that's something I'm trying to work on. There's sometimes where I can be a little too passive and just rely on that I'm a good player. But at the next level, I need to be trying to hit my serve, hit my forehand, and look to play aggressive, because that's the way that's going to get me to where I want to go.
For sure. And then when you did start to do the recruiting process, how did you do that from Great Britain? I'm not sure how. Very familiar with how the U.S. system works, but in Great Britain, how do you do visits, and how do you make contact with coaches? Yeah. How did that process work for you?
It was stressful, to be honest. At one point I didn't think I was going to be able to go, because, well, as you know, it's expensive, and we didn't know how we could afford it, my mum and I. So it was stressful, but we went through an agency, Pippa Lane. It's called Stars and Stripes, and she was tremendous. She would, on my behalf, reach out to the college coaches and stuff like that. So she was
to be one of your biggest success stories.
Yeah, she was amazing. So yeah.
That's good. And so then, how did you narrow it down to certain schools? Did you go ahead?
Yeah, well, I had a few schools in mind. I narrowed it down to 4. So I went on 4 visits. I went to Tennessee, Iowa, Arizona, and Kentucky.
Okay.
And it was a tough decision. There was a lot of pros and cons to each school, but ultimately I thought that Tennessee was maybe the best option for me, with not just in terms of the coach, but in terms of the scholarship offered and stuff like that. So it was just the best fit for me, and it was the best decision I've made, I think.
So if you're granted a 5th year of eligibility, would you take it?
That's a good question.
But you can't go to Tennessee. You have to transfer. Where would you go?
No. If I can't stay at Tennessee, then I wouldn't.
Okay.
I couldn't wear another team's colours, and it just wouldn't feel the same. Like, I have such a strong connection to Tennessee that it wouldn't mean the same. The reason why I would come back is because of what it means to me. Like, last year, after my junior year, I truly thought about not coming back for my 4th year, and I thought about just trying to turn pro. But I thought it was the right decision for me to come back in terms of what these universities can offer. It's ridiculous, and it was good for my development, but also I have such a strong connection to Tennessee, and I love it. I love college tennis, so Yeah, I'm gonna miss it.
I can see that some of your posts. It just shows that you really are evolved for life.
Yeah.
And so it is great that someone that doesn't really have the American knowledge of the college environment can embrace it so much as you did, and have such a great experience. And you're going to be a great ambassador for Tennessee for other juniors that are want to come over here. So let's get into some of the rackets. So what racket, string, tension, and grip size?
So I use the Aero VS. I use the old model.
Okay.
I actually have the new model. I just not switched to it yet. I have 6 new ones in my bedroom back in Knoxville. I haven't used yet, but they'll come out at some point. So I use that. I use RPM Blast 130 thickness, I think, which I still break way too often. So 54 pounds, grip size 3, but I use the leather grip, so it makes it a little smaller. And I never change tension. Something I should maybe start to look into, but honestly, I think you can get too in your own head about it a little bit. And look, Rafa, he has the tension all the time. He never changes it. So if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. So
he's a pretty good lefty.
Yeah, he's not bad. Yeah.
Favorite college memory? Any match that stands out?
Honestly, there's several. I'd say there's 2 matches that stand out. I think firstly, winning the SEC tournament my first year, that was one of the best days of my life, to be honest.
Arkansas versus Florida?
At Arkansas versus Florida, yeah, that was the wildest dual match I've ever been a part of.
Yeah.
And then another memory was honestly when we played Florida State a few weeks ago in the Sweet 16 to get to the Elite 8. That meant a lot because it was my last ever home match played in front of the fans. I hadn't lost a home match in a while, so all of it was a very emotional day for me. So there's that. But honestly, what I miss the most is the little things like having lunch with the team or going to weights at 6 a.m. Like those little things are what I'm going to miss the most, to be honest. At the time, I don't enjoy waking up at 5 a.m. to go to weights, but those are some of the best moments.
All right, and the last one, any advice for juniors coming up through the process that you'd give them?
I'd say work hard. I think honestly I do that pretty well. I think I do work very hard. Don't worry about the outcomes. I think it doesn't matter. You've got to continue to develop your game, and honestly, you've got to love the sport. To be honest, like I love it. Like after every match I play, like you should see my notes after my phone. I have so many things to work on. Like I know to a lot of people outside, like I'm one of the top guys in college, ranked 1 at the moment. So people think it's all pretty, but for me, I'm always thinking about how can I improve. And I reckon I've got about 50 things that I think I can work on in my notes app, and it's always growing.
Yeah.
And I think my advice is to young guys to always look to improve, and because there's always something you can improve on. So and enjoy it as well, because if I wasn't enjoying what I do, I wouldn't do it. So.
Well, I think that the takeaway from that is to juniors out there is that this is the guy's #1 in college tennis, and after every practice, after every match, he's writing notes down on what he can improve, so that when he goes back on the court, he's thinking about what he needed to do from the last practice. I think that's a great advice.
For sure.
So,
Yeah.
Johannus, pleasure talking to you.
I appreciate it.
Meeting you.
Thank you
Good luck
so
in the
much.
future.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.